Anyway, mate, it's our last podcast for
Christmas.
Yeah, for a couple of weeks. Break up for Christmas, have a couple of weeks off.
Mm-hmm.
I'll break up on the 18th, which would have gone when people, it'll be the 18th when people see this. So
23rd, I break up.
Oh, that's nasty.
I know, but it's the nature of the beast.
Ready for it though, mate. Even though with this COVID lot, it's knocked. How many weeks have I had off? I've had my 21 days holiday plus 13 weeks from the lockdown, and I still feel like I need 2 weeks off. I still do.
I had 6 weeks. I had a week off in the summer, and I am ready for a break. But then you, like you say, you just reflect back and you think, well, actually, I had quite a long break off. So
it's different though, because I feel like with a lockdown, obviously we had a break, but it was a bit like we never kind of knew when we was going back to work. Because in my mind, I thought we was going to have a week off and blow over. And here we are, how many months later, 8 months later, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I genuinely thought we'd go off for 2 weeks, it would blow over, and we'd be back to work as normal. But 13 weeks, yeah.
I mean, when he initially first announced lockdown, bang, it was said, 3 weeks, we'll review it. That's all we'll need. And then it went on, and then July came, and there was a little bit of normality. And
yeah, there wasn't there.
The end of July, he introduced everybody had to wear a face mask, and it all just seemed to come downhill from there, really.
Yeah, I know.
Mind you, I think we were forewarned, weren't we, for the winter that it was that was going to be it, really. But,
yeah, so I feel like obviously the lockdown, it wasn't a holiday, was it? It was amazing. Like the sun was out. I was in the garden. Like
we were lucky for that time of year. The spring. It was hot. It was
exactly. But it wasn't like because I also did loads of work, did loads of jobs on the house, everything that needed doing, I did. It wasn't like you've been grafting all year. Let's have 2 weeks off in the sun somewhere, was it? It wasn't the same feeling. So we still came back to work, and it was like, well, bloody hell, where's this gone? Like, so I'm looking forward to this Christmas. Like, looking forward to the holiday. Looking forward to we're seeing a little bit of family,
Yeah.
Within the guidelines and all that.
No.
And it'd be nice just to eat some food and drink a bit more alcohol.
Well, I think more people, mate, are going to get into the spirit of Christmas because obviously they're going to make the most of the whatever.
It's a holiday at home, isn't it? And it's one that you can make a holiday at home. So.
And they can make it how they can turn that time at Christmas, and I think it'll give us all a chance to reflect on the year, and hopefully light will be at the end of the tunnel, mate, for the start of the year.
I reckon it's like you just said a minute ago, with this lockdown, and we thought it was going to blow over, and then all of a sudden everyone was wearing masks, and we're still in it now. I reckon for everyone's Christmas presents, they might be have you seen these like futuristic space bubble suits that you can buy now? They're like vented domes over your head. I might ask for one of them for Christmas. What do you reckon?
Is that one where they get the vacuum on and they shrink wrap you?
I think that's dominatrix, Mark.
Dominatrix, yeah.
Yeah, they put you in a bin bag and shrink wrap you, and someone fingers your arse.
And it becomes a gimp suit.
Yeah, not that I know about this. I've heard about it. I've heard people talking about it.
You brought that up, not me.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Anyway.
Yeah, it does. It makes you think. Like, makes you think all the things we've had as kids and stuff. That's another thing. In fact, you remember, like, what's the biggest part of Christmas when you was a kid? What book would you get that you'd have to fill in? I don't know about you, actually, if it was still the same thing. I'm pretty sure it was, but like my childhood consisted of getting the Argos catalogue and ticking it off what you wanted.
We used to have I can't remember. There were catalogues. They were mail order catalogues where you obviously you phoned up or you wrote in and you paid for it, and people could have it on tick. And there was all these pictures, and at the very back, I mean, these catalogues were like that. They were that thick. And at the back, the toy section would be like that. And I just used to open it up, flick through, and you would circle, yeah, I want number such and such and such and such. And
yeah, well, that's it. Now you like my generation. That was it. The Argos catalogue. The Argos catalogue was the thing, mate.
Yeah.
But now they ain't got an Argos catalogue, have they?
Well, everything on the online.
So now I wonder if he text sent it out. You know, instead, like the old days, you used to write a letter, didn't you, and put it in the fire.
Yeah.
Oh, he text sent it out. I wonder if he's got a Twitter account or something.
Possibly. I'm sure he'll have Wi-Fi in the North Pole, mate. Yeah. He seems to manage to travel around the world in one night.
Yeah, he does. There'll be kids texting him saying, "Now then, bruv, I want like a £600 iPhone in that, bruv, innit? And like me fucking £600 fucking aquascutum jacket, innit?" At least he'll have an easy journey. At least he'll have an easy journey these times, won't he? Because he'll just miss everyone. They'll all be naughty kids.
I tell you what, mate. I mean, we'll probably be saying this to our children. How generations have changed. It was like, whether it was true or not, God knows. But my mum's generation, she says, "Oh, you ought to think yourself lucky. When I was a kid, all we got was an apple and an orange in a stocking and a rag doll."
I'll put a smack down the ear roll.
Tiny Tim. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we only got one day off work. We had to work Christmas Eve. There was never a Boxing Day.
Yeah.
No.
According to the older generations, everything was hard, wasn't it? Everything was hard. I'll tell you what, mate.
I spell that now. I just think, like, yeah, you look back and.
I genuinely think, though, right, we could probably say, like, post-war, our generation has probably got it the hardest, mate. We've got everything to deal with, mate. So, like, it sounds pansy to a lot of other people, but like the fact of social media and trying to look good and money and debts and interest rates and, you know, like, you think of our like the generation before you, Mark, the older generation, say 60, 70 now, 80, so our grandparents. Like, I've got to say that their generation must have had it the easiest, as long as they weren't during the war, because they could get married, the wife could have a child or 2 children, 3 children, she could leave her job, be a full-time mother, which is natural, what it should be anyway. The dad goes to a job that's going to be a job for life, because that's the way jobs work, to get paid a decent wage, but know that they're going to retire at 60 or whatever it was, and know that they can afford to have no mortgage and live their retirement out. It just doesn't seem like a possibility at the minute, does it?
No.
There's people out there. There's people out there getting paid less. This is a full-grown adults getting paid less than £7 an hour. How the fucking hell can anybody function with a real family and a real life, you know, with a house or a mortgage or rent even on that sort of money?
Well, mate, it's only going to get worse because of what's happened with COVID, with the amount of people that have, and a lot of employees are going to take advantage of that. Well, if you want work, you know, they're going to offer what they think is a reasonable rate of pay. You know, because
I think at the moment the stats are, during this COVID stuff, something like 6% unemployment rate in the UK.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's 6%. Quote me on it. I don't know, but I'm sure it's 6%.
No, I haven't looked at it, mate, for a while.
Oh, that's just mad. It's not right.
No.
For the sake of the virus, it's got a 1%, not even a 1% rate. No, we're stopping it. We're out of this conversation. We're out of this conversation.
It's Christmas, guys. Yes. I was raised by elves.
Yeah. On a happier note, like, come on, let's reminisce on when we were kids. I don't know. I know your generation's the generation just before mine, isn't it? 10 years,
Yeah.
10 years apart. Like,
Oh, that's nice. That's nice of you to say, Matt. But I'd add another 8 on that, mate, if I was you.
let's just say 10 years apart. Well, we'd say you was the 80s, I was the 90s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of, give or take.
Yeah.
But what was like, you can, like, I could name numerous, like, waking up at Christmas just hoping what I had there. You know what I mean? Like, what were the trends in your sort of era? Like, what was you after? What were the things you're after?
What sort of toys you mean?
Yeah, toys look like the shit you wanted for Christmas.
Well, I don't know whether I had a bit of a doll fetish because I was like, not dolls as in
Are
dolls.
you sure you want to say this on YouTube, mate? There's a lot.
Yeah, no, go on.
It's international YouTube. You know that.
I was always into like action figures, you know, like action men, like.
Well, that sounds better than having a doll fetish, Mark.
I know, but they're still fucking dolls, aren't they? I still like playing with.
I'm sure I know people who've got doll fetishes, but they're completely different. They're like human looking, silicon, but their mouths are stuck like that. What you should have said, you could have come in a lot more macho and just said, you know what, I love action men. They were great.
Yeah, but when you look at, oh god, mate, this is all going. I think you're all out. Right, I'm gonna get trolled now. Hey, we know what he's into.
Oh, doll boy.
I used to like, mate. I started off with action figures. I like Action Man. I like Star Wars figures.
Oh yeah, brilliant.
Masters of the Universe, He-Man, all that. I used to love all them toys. I used to collect them. Lego was a big toy that I used to like.
You say action figures, mate. I remember like I had a bag and it was a Ninja Turtle bag. And it was actually, and in it was just stuffed full of Ninja Turtle shit. You know, Splinter, all the Ninja Turtles, all the wagons, everything. I had it all. I had like boxes full of action men with everything you could imagine. You know, action figures. I think they'll be around forever, though, won't they? Now it'll all be the Marvel stuff, won't it? It'll all be the new Marvel.
So Star Wars is still good.
Yeah. This is.
If I knew what I knew now, Star Wars figures, mate, I had loads. I had tons of it. I had the original Millennium Falcon, and that is worth thousands now.
You know what? This is what baffles me about your. This is what baffles me about your generation. My brother's your age, so he says exactly the same thing. You know, he had all of it, all the original stuff. It must be everybody in your position must have had all the original stuff. So where the fuck is it? Why is it worth so much? Everyone had it.
I know.
But it's had the same, and I think my mum gave it away. It was all in the garage or wherever it was, all in the shed, and my mum gave it away to the neighbours before he moved. And I think he lost his head a bit. They probably got it for a note, and they chucked it away probably.
Well, the maths. I mean, board games. That was another one. I mean, I don't see kids playing. I mean, it's all video. Do you call them video games? I don't know. I've got.
You're trying not to sound old, aren't you?
I know.
It is video games. Yeah, it's all electronics now, isn't it? Everything's video games. Console.
Yeah, I mean, when we used to play a lot of board games, there was like Test Match, which was a cricket against Sabutio. I don't see kids
playing. Does your generation have those like spin tops and you know, like spin tops and spinning wheels and stuff?
Then, mate, when I was a kid, we used to. I'm not fucking old. Hungry Hippo, Buckaroo.
Oh yeah, Hungry Hippo was a good one, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
I'm trying to think like Stretch Armstrong. You didn't have them in your day, did you?
Yeah, we had them, mate.
Stretch Armstrong, but everybody had a Stretch. Everybody.
Yeah, Stretch Armstrong.
And then like all the plastic shit started becoming big when I think in the 90s when I was about, you know, we had like Was it Mr. Freeze? Was it Mr. Freeze was the thing, wasn't it? Where you can make your own like slush puppies.
Oh yeah, yeah, they had them. They had another thing was Play-Doh mop shop where you had like a figurine and you compressed it on some Play-Doh and like all this clay hair come out and you could cut his hair and
Yeah.
I don't know if that was aimed at girls and boys. I can't remember. I'll have to Google
Trolls. Remember Trolls?
That was a bit after my time, mate. But yeah, I do.
We had Pogs. Do you have Pogs?
Say that again.
Remember Pogs? Little Pogs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh mate, I was the fucking don at Pogs, mate. Absolute don.
Yeah.
I had a briefcase that I don't even know where it came from because none of my family used a briefcase, but I had a briefcase, and it was.
I'll tell you what we was big on. I've got some here.
Top trumps. You
Cards,
can't see them, but I saw them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Top trumps. We had all the cars and that. Top trumps were massive, weren't they? Absolutely massive. I wonder if kids have top trumps now.
I don't think that they had a bit of a resurgence about 10, 15 years ago, but I don't think they're as popular. I don't see many about now.
The thing is, mate, do you reckon like kids now, do you reckon they'll get to our age and be like, and have the same sort of nostalgia as we have with all the different things that we had? Because most of it's on a phone, isn't it? Like we had the Nintendos, mate. I mean, remember like the staging of games coming out? Like, I think I was quite lucky in the fact that the 90s was quite revolutionary, wasn't it? You know, the 80s had big inventions, but the 90s where everything started coming together. Like you started to have all the Nintendo shit.
I can tell you what were the three big games consoles or keypads or whatever they were in the 80s was Atari. Atari was very big. Spectrum and Commodore. Yeah. Commodore 64.
See, this was the 80s. So then when I was growing up in the 90s, all that shit started coming together. So then you'd have like the Sega Mega Drive, you know. I don't know what came before the Sega. It was always the Sega, wasn't it? The Sega was like the new thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It started coming together, and it was like, and then obviously from there everything just progressed. So all the toys started progressing, all the game consoles started progressing, and like now you can get on an iPhone or on any phone, in fact, any decent phone, you can get every single console that we ever grew up with in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, 70s, whenever it was, all compressed into one app.
What gets me, if you connect it to your Wi-Fi at home, it's seconds, mate, to download a game. Boom, you do.
And you can have every single thing on one app, not even on your device, on one app.
Now, when I was growing up, you'd have to set your keyboard up. You'd have a cassette player, and all the video games would come on cassette, and you'd have to load them in, press play, link it to your keyboard. I had a black and white TV to play these games on, and you'd have to wait for at least like half an hour, 3/4 of an hour for the game to load, and you'd have these pixels appearing, and then once all the pixels had appeared on the screen, it's full. Then you would continue, and you get into the game, and then you'd have to go.
This is what I'm trying to say. Like, do you think the nostalgia is still going to be there now? Because
I think it is for my age group because people still collect. Yeah.
Yeah, for your stuff because there's something to collect.
Yeah.
But say like now, even with the Xboxes and that, they just every single, not even every year, like every half a year. Like you don't remember. You might remember the first of the game. So like if you're playing what's a big game like GTA. If you're playing a big GTA, you might remember the first like the San Andreas or whatever the first Vice City, the first game that came out. But you don't remember the ones in between. You just because you constantly want better, don't you?
Yeah.
So at what point, like, where do kids go? Oh yeah, I remember playing this. It's like there's nothing like to hold on to. Like where we had all.
Actually, mate, there probably is, because people, you can buy merchandise from video games. People might have the T-shirts, the hats, because there was nothing. When I was growing up, there was nothing like that. I mean, they sell merchandise for it now, and they probably, I mean, the three big games when I first started out were obviously things like Pac-Man.
But it's also with media, social media, like the film industry is massive. So say like the Marvel figurines now.
Yeah.
The Marvel figurines now, if they're in a shop in the UK, they're in a shop in every other country in the world, aren't they? Because everybody's seen that film. Everybody in every single language has seen a Marvel film. They've seen Avengers. You know, in every single language that film will be out. Whereas I feel like in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, the reason why those items are so expensive and collectible is because, all right, there probably was quite a lot of them made because obviously every kid wanted it.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that it was quite they would have been fairly niche, wouldn't they? Like if you had, I don't know, what figurine would you have had that would have been worth a lot of money? Say someone from the Star Wars.
Boba Fett is very, very sought after, and I had that figure, and the one that they bought a limited edition out of him in the 80s, one of the first editions, and they stopped making them for safety reasons. But his missile from his jetpack, they could launch it, but kids were swallowing it. Kids were
swallowing it.
And I had the one after that, and it was a great figure to have. But look, reflecting back at it, I looked at now, and I used to think, yeah, I used to like playing with it, and you know, having scenarios. But it's such an iconic figure now. I mean, you've heard of the Mandalorian that's on Disney Plus. That's the same type of species or group as what Boba Fett's his armor, and just how something like that can resonate now today and be so sought after, and people go fucking nuts over it. And it's real, you know.
I also think as well that the world population has moved a lot in 30, 40, 50, 60 years. You know, 100 years ago, there was only 1 billion people on the planet.
Yeah.
100 years ago, that's nothing. 100 years ago. We know people, well, I almost know people that was alive nearly that long ago.
When I was born, mate, there was only just over 3 billion people on the planet.
There's nearly 8 billion people now. So that's probably why things have got more of a worth, I guess, because even in mass production, even in these toys that were mass production, they were mass produced for a population of 3 billion, which probably, like, realistically, the people that wanted those toys, there was probably only a few 100 million, maybe, or a few million. So the production for these things was probably minor, wasn't it?
Who's doing all this breeding now? Where do people find the time?
You know what baffles me, right, is how this rate has gone up so much. There's obviously real reasons, isn't there? Because of, I suppose, because of vaccines and good medication and better lifestyles, better understanding of people living. But how the fucking hell have we multiplied so quick from nowhere? We've been on the planet. We've been on this planet for hundreds of thousands of years. Where have we just? How all of a sudden have we just like boof, gone?
I
don't understand it. I really don't understand it.
That might be a podcast for another day.
There's another one in that. Yeah,
let's do that one. I think we ought to do that. Write it down.
I'm sure there's people got something to say about that. I don't understand that at all. But yeah, you know, just growing up as a kid in the 90s was just, I thought it was ace. Like my chat, I feel like was just the last generation of kids.
What was your routine for Christmas then? What would you?
Oh, mate.
What defined Christmas for you?
Yeah, so obviously now, like my wife is Austrian descendant, so they have like a bit of a, I don't know if this is all Austrians or just their family tradition, but they have like a stocking on Christmas Eve.
Mm.
So they get to open a few things. Our tradition when we were kids, because I grew up with two stepbrothers, my other brother, my brother your age was in the army, was it was we used to nag if we can have a present before Christmas. Usually they'd break and say you can have pick one thing for Christmas.
Yeah.
And, you can open it Christmas Eve before you go to bed, and that was it. So it was like hit and miss, especially because I had two other brothers. It was like you really didn't want to pick something shit. Your brothers pick something decent, and then they're opening like a Game Boy or something ace. You've got like I don't know, a celebration box, some fucking shit chocolate box.
There was a little trick, mate, because my mum used to do that with me. She used to say you can pick a present on Christmas because I used to get that excited. I actually used to grope the presents around the Christmas tree a few days before and just try and get a rough idea what was in there. So I knew that was a great trick, mate. That was.
Yeah. So obviously we'd do that and we'd go to bed. Then you spend all night just trying to get to sleep when you know you're going to wake up. You're going to wake up at 5, 6 in the morning anyway because you're buzzing. You want to get your presents open. You come down and then we used to have these like it was old school, mate. Our house. We used to have like this, like the dining room was separated with these sliding doors. You know what I mean? Glass sliding doors.
Yeah.
And they always used to be shut. So we used to have like one of us would have a bit of the floor, one of us would have one sofa, another one have another sofa, and then we'd like open up, or like come down, pick where we was going to go. Like mum and stepdad would say, this is your sofa, this is where you are, this is where you are. But then the doors would shut. So like obviously in the back of your mind, you're hoping there's a fucking BMX in there. If there's not a BMX in there, you gutted. You want your new bike, it's got to be in there. So that was a plan, mate. So we'd open our presents. Usually, like then we'd go around, call for a mate who lived up the road, knock on their door. Then we'd go and call for another mate, knock on their door, and then we'd all meet up down the shops.
Yeah.
We'd all meet up down the shops and show each other what we've got, which was amazing. Like it was kind of like a tradition that we always did as mates. We all met up. What we had. It started when we were kids. We used to be like, we've all got army gear. We all used to like dress like army soldiers and go in the woods and terrorize people and that. That's how it started. And then it was like, then we've all got new skateboards and some wax to wax the curbs up. And it was, it just changed every year. Amazing. I miss it. I miss that sort of stuff. Don't you?
I miss, and I also think at Christmas, family get-togethers have changed, mate.
Yeah, because then the dynamics change, don't they? You obviously get another half. Like obviously I got married, so your priorities have to change a bit, don't they?
But I always remember growing up, it was always a tradition. It was like you broke up whether you was at school or when I just started work, but you would go to the pub with your family on a Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
You'd go at lunchtime and you'd be all excited.
That's an English thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Christmas Eve.
Getting ready for Christmas, and then you'd probably have a bit of the family round on Christmas Eve, a few drinks in the evening, nibbles. There would always be like a bit of a buffet, nibbles, and you'd probably have your auntie and uncles round, and then the next day it'd be Christmas Day. You'd wake up. There would always be stuff everywhere. You would have Quality Street. They would have lots. There would always be something to pick at, and people went to town on it. And then you'd wake up. You'd open all your presents, and then you'd have your grandparents that either come round or you'd go and see them, and you'd thank them,
that was the thing, thanking everyone. That was the worst. When you was a kid, that was the worst thing, wasn't it?
I know.
Oh, I've got to thank everyone now.
About Christmas was when somebody bought you clothes.
Yeah.
And especially when you're a kid, you're not interested. You just want to play with your toys, and
you want money or toys.
Yeah, your money and the toys.
Yeah.
And then parents would get these clothes and says, "You need to try that on so we make sure it fits you." And you'd like, "I don't want to. I'm not bothered."
I've got my fucking Game Boy, Mum. I've got my Game Boy. I don't want to know about it.
Try these trousers on, these shoes.
I'm trying to keep my Tamagotchi alive.
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep my Tamagotchi alive.
Oh dear, and that was the thing I hated, mate. It's like, fucking no, I just want to play with the toys. I'm not interested in clothes. I don't care. I don't even like it. I don't like the clothes.
That was the worst thing, wasn't it?
My trousers were flared.
Yeah.
They're going to take this out of me at school.
Your mum, she's like, your mum comes in. She's like, "I'm on the phone to your auntie. Do you want to have a word?"
Yeah.
No. All right, I'll put you on now. Put you on, and you're like this on the phone like that. What did she get me? I don't know. What did she get me? Yeah.
I was always
Good time,
terrible
mate.
not looking at the tags. I'd just like get the. There we go.
Yeah.
What's the worst present you've ever been bought, Matt?
Oh, I don't like to say because it's from my wife. I'll tell you what, mate. This is pretty recently, actually. I'm sure she won't mind, but it turned out it was all right. But I had obviously I had loads of things to open up and that. I opened one, and there was a glove in it, just one glove, a single glove, and. I opened it, looked a bit deeper, and it was like, you know those gloves that you can cut that don't cut your hand? They're like,
yeah, I know, yeah, for when
cut-proof gloves. I thought, what the hell is that? I looked at it, I said, oh, thanks, babe, that's great. So anyway, she's like, it's part of something else. So I'll just open that one. So I opened that one. There was a fucking wood whittling set in it. I looked at it, I was like, oh, great! Yeah. Right. I know you like doing woodwork and stuff, but I thought you'd like to try a bit of whittling. It turns out this was about 3 years earlier as well. During the lockdown in the summer, I was just doing nothing, absolutely nothing. I sat in the garden. I made a spoon. I used it. It turned out it was all right.
Tell you about that spoon.
It was all right.
All right. She bought me a toilet seat for Christmas. Never even wrapped it. She came to my house when we wasn't in to do. She did actually do a little bit of cleaning for us at one time, bless her. And she actually fitted it for us. And she went, "There's your Christmas present."
Wow. She said, I bet she said, "I know what you're like, Mark. Being a plumber, you won't ever get it bloody done."
That's what she said.
Yeah.
That's what she said, and I'm like, "Oh, that's nice. I would have liked to have at least unwrapped it."
Yeah, I'm sure any relative of a plumber can understand that plumbing just don't get done, does it?
I also had another relative buy me a little bronze figure of a statuette of a plumber, right, holding a wrench with a certificate of authenticity. And when I unwrapped it and looked at it, I thought, why the fuck do I need something to remind me of what I do for a living?
Of the path that I chose in life, yeah.
A job that I don't enjoy. Are you really trying to wind me up?
Yeah, I can imagine.
What the fuck?
Well, I suppose it's no different. I suppose it's no different to waking up every morning and realising you've got to put the same trousers on you wore the day before.
No.
I've got to do this again.
It's grim.
That's one thing. If I could go back and when I was a little kid and I was really excited for Christmas and your parents said to you, "Well, what do you want for Christmas?" I don't know what I would have said now. Maybe I would have said, "Look, just a direction in life. Just send me on the right direction. I don't want to go into a trade. I don't want to work on a building site. Just put me in the right direction. But they did their best, didn't they? Bless them.
All parents do their best, mate, by us, and it's us that make the decisions, mate. At the end of the day, we've got free will. We don't have to, we chose this path. And
well, when you've got job offers saying 35 to 60 grand, it sounds quite enticing, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And then you get there and it's like, there's your pay rise. Yeah. Settle with that or fuck off. Bring back childhood, mate. Bring back the excitement of your mate just getting the first mobile phone that's been available to anyone without money. Yeah. I remember just being like, my mate's got this. He's got a new phone, and I think my mum got given a BT Cellnet for work. But no longer needed it, so she gave me it for my birthday, or I'm sure it's for Christmas. She might have given me it for Christmas. And I remember just like we went down south to see some of my mum's friends, and we was in London, and it was only my other mate that had a phone, and I was just texting him. We was just texting each other like we were probably both just getting giddy. I was just texting him, and it was like we're just texting him like are you okay, mate? Because it was all on the amount of letters that you sent, wasn't it?
Yeah.
How's it going, mate? M8. And it was like, I can't chat for too much longer because I ain't got much credit left. Like, you used to just get well excited about that stuff, didn't you?
Oh, it's all changed, mate, now. It's, do you think Christmas is still there, mate, or do you think it's...
I don't know. It's hard to say because I suppose like the generation before us was saying the same thing. How can these young ones get excited about Christmas when they're not doing this, they're not doing that? I don't know. It's easy to say, but I suppose they've just got excitement in different things, haven't they? Technology's changed. I suppose now kids are excited to get the new Xbox or the new game or the new phone. Do
you think Christmas has become more commercialised? Do you think it's...
Oh, definitely. Come on, man. Look at there's companies offering a debt to getting Christmas in at the start of the year. There's people offering in January, or there's people offering.
We don't have to walk in the supermarkets, mate. Once we get to September, boom, that's it. All the Christmas sweets are on the shelf. Your decorations and. Yeah, I do think
even at the after Christmas, there's companies offering debts so that you can get in debt, and pay it off before the next Christmas.
Yeah,
that's how commercialised it is because if you've got 3 kids, mate, who are all teenagers, all at school, which is very common. You know what I mean? It's very common for parents like. That's one thing you find when you grow up is you do find a bit of a respect from your parents giving you what you want. Now, when I grew up, obviously my parents had pretty menial jobs like normal, like everybody else. They worked hard. But I never went to school in shit shoes. I never didn't have a bike at Christmas. I never didn't have something that came out. I always had it. You know what I mean? And it gives you that like newfound respect, doesn't it?
I think sometimes with that, yes, I agree, mate.
I know I've just changed the conversation a bit, but yeah.
I know, fine, mate. It's I think that's the way of the world. It's about, we said it weeks ago. It's about life seems about keeping up with the Joneses, doesn't it? And it sends wrong message to children. And I mean, I'm not religious at all, but if you ask most children now, what is the true meaning of Christmas? How do you think they would answer the question? Say, we're celebrating when Jesus was born.
Yeah, but then, Mark, but like honestly, if I look back to my childhood, I would have been the same.
Yeah, I was the same, mate. I was.
What's the true meaning of Christmas? Yeah. It would be like I wake up and I get presents. You know what I mean? Like brutally honest.
I was exactly the same, mate. I wasn't bothered about. I mean, I know some people still go to midnight mass and things like that.
A lot of our family do, and I respect that.
Yeah. Oh, I do, mate. I respect it. I mean, I'm not religious at all.
But I respect religion. I'm not religious at all. I'm the same. I've got. I'm far from religious, but I respect religious beliefs.
I respect it, mate. I do. Well, what I do find though, I do think Christmas started originally as. I mean, this is another research that I keep saying I'm going to have to do. I do think it is a bit of a pagan festival, and it has become a pagan festival again. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you do your research, and there's a lot of people that have, the reason, obviously, we get past the longest day of, no, not the longest day, the shortest day of the year. Mm-hmm. People, apparently, Christmas is obviously about bringing light into the world. That's when actually the days start getting lighter, and that's what they're saying we're celebrating, and that's.
Yeah.
If you're not religious, I mean, if you look back, and then obviously baby Jesus, he was born, he was going to be our saviour, bring light into the world, and that's, if you look deep in it, this is another subject for another podcast, mate. We could possibly do it, but that's what it's about. And I do think there, obviously, with what you see, there is a bit of paganism and also a bit of religion mixed in with it.
Yeah, and ultimately, I'm sure there's a lot of people that agree with me. There might be people that disagree, but ultimately, whatever it is, you want to call it Christmas. It's got Christ in the name. Christmas. You want to call it whatever you want to call it. It's a time where it genuinely just stops time. It stops everything. It stops that hard grind. It's not like you're not going on your summer holiday. You're not booking your days off. It just stops. Everybody stops. Stop banking. Stop thinking about your job. Stop thinking about running your business or carrying on your career. Just stop for a couple of weeks, even if it's 5 days. Just stop. Think about what you've actually got for that few days. If that's all it is for me, just go and be with your family. Go and have a laugh.
Yeah.
Go and get drunk with your family. Just go and do things that you would normally like. Try and jump outside of your normal life to do with your mates or whatever, or people that you don't really know. Do that with your family and just enjoy it. For me, that's like a good enough excuse.
It is.
On a holiday. I don't care if you're Muslim or you're bloody Jewish or you're this or you're that or you're black or you're white. It's genuinely just like just have 2 weeks just to fucking chill out, because everyone's in this shit, aren't they? Everyone's in the Matrix, mate. Everybody's doing this shit. Just let it go for a bit. Eat what you want, drink what you want, do everything to excess for 5 days, and then get back to reality and carry on. Put lights up that blind your neighbours up for a few days. You know what I mean? Just do it big. Just do everything big. Why not? Yeah.
Christmas, have you seen
giant stick lit up in your front garden? You know what I mean? Why not? You know what I mean?
I
think that's what it's all about. It doesn't matter if the message has been lost. It doesn't matter if it was a religious ceremony that's got lost down the way. I don't think it's got lost. I think it's just changed. It's just adapted to the way that people think. And I think that's why. I think that's why now, even now, after all these years of religion, and how many people have broke away from that religion, which I'm telling you now, mate, I don't care what people say. There's got to be a massive percentage of Brits that aren't really that religious. They still might call themselves Christian. We've all been either baptized or christened. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of us that are actually that religious, but it's one period that can get us all together just to do whatever, just to love your family, just to be around each other. Have a Christmas do with your workmates that usually you won't give a shit about, and actually just be around them for a bit and have a good laugh.
Yeah.
I think it's all good, mate. I think it's all good. It don't matter if he's got lost in translation, does it?
And I think as well, it's a time to reflect and put the past behind you and just try and move on. And
yourself, I've been the same. You've been in this position, and I know I've been in this position where even on a work do, even on a Christmas work do, which is pretty menial, you've had that year behind you where you could have probably killed people. But you get there, yeah, just get pissed, mate, and just crack on with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
crack on with it.
That's what it's
because
about.
At the end of the day, you've got to start again in the next year, and it still is what it is. So
that's the biggest thing, mate, and that's what about doing this podcast is about moving on, and he's putting, because if you can't move on, mate, it only holds you back, and you know, it stops you doing from things you want to do in life, and
that's it, mate.
I do believe as well, and I saw this message was in a film the other day, and I'm going to try and quote it, was that we all have the tools to get out there to do what we want to do and to move on in life, and we can all find that strength. And you know, all we've just got to do, and this reflects on the podcast from last week about fighting.
Yeah,
we all have the strength to fight and to move on and to do the things in life. And we've got that negativity switch that is apparently this is a podcast for another day, mate, that is in humans. Like it, we are so easy manipulated into being negative, and you know, it's just about getting away from that negativity and just.
It also comes down to empathy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is a real positive trait of humans, and it's a negative trait of humans.
Yeah.
We're empathetic about what other people think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which also is a bit of a negative.
And it doesn't matter, because what's it going to matter in 10, 20 years' time?
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah. Nothing. Cool, you know.
Absolutely nothing.
We all have that strength to do, and nothing should hold us back. You know, nothing should get in our way. If you want to do it, let's just do it. And it's I know it's easy for me to sit here and say, but you don't know until you try. And I've tried a couple of things this year, and I've took a chance, and you know, that's it.
Here we are.
Here we are, mate. Yeah.
Sam's Grotto. On this fucking still on this shit internet podcast.
I would like to give a mention. I got a text message the other day from a mutual friend of mine in Jackson's build base in Lincoln. They've started a food bank in there, collecting food for people for Christmas. Obviously, a lot of families struggling out there, so it would be really kind if people could donate to that.
Yeah, I think anything in that respect. Yeah. There's a guy, a mutual friend of ours, who works for us, who's also collecting for talking about religion again, for a Methodist church, but they do like they do packs for the homeless. You know, so we just like donate whatever you want, everything. You know, not just food, tampons, bloody wet wipes, beds and everything. He asked for 3 pieces of stuff from everybody that he can get hold of on site. Just give me 3 things. That's it. If you can give me more, great. If not, and then he hands it in. He's got hundreds of items.
Yeah.
From wet wipes to tins of soup to, you know, just things that most people, that, you know, you can put things into these homeless charity things that when you actually look at it, if you're homeless, how are you going to get boiling water or a microwave? You're not, are you?
You're not, mate. No.
You know, so sanitary towels and stuff like that, and wet wipes and toothpaste and toothbrushes is priceless, surely.
It is, yeah.
How are these people doing these things?
Mm-hmm.
General basic hygiene. So, you know, I think it's great. So we've all the lads on our site have chucked into it.
Yeah.
Just little things. At this time of year when you've got to help, haven't you? It's Christmas. You've got to help.
And you can kind of look at that when, as well, there are people in that position. So people are just go. I mean, we're not dictating to anybody. But when people are just going to buy their next Costa coffee and it's like that, I just think, well, actually, I could, rather than
quid would have paid for someone's lunch.
Why don't I, put that to somebody that might need it? Spend £2.50 on some food for a food bank, or rather than a Costa coffee or a Starbucks. Or I know we all like a treat, but just take into consideration, because of what's happened this year, there's a lot of people struggling. So we could all pull together in times like this.
That's one thing.
Yeah.
Of reminiscing on our past of being kids to being adults. I feel like we're adults. We're adults now. There's an obligation to look after your community, look after yourselves. Look after each other. We cannot moan and whine about communities and life if you're not having some sort of positive input towards it. Surely. If you're only if you're only chucking negative out there, surely the only thing you're going to get back is negative.
Oh, it is, mate. Yeah.
Long term, you know what I mean? Because ultimately, if you're trashing your community and you're everything around you, you might have a perfect little bubble, but it's only going to catch up with you in the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
People really are, mate. At the end of the day, when you start trashing other people, and you might think it makes you look good, but it doesn't in the long run.
No.
Your cracks soon start to show. Anyway.
Yeah. So on that note,
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. Like, we would see it out on a bit of nostalgia. I'm sure everyone can watch this and leave us some comments on the stuff that they remember from their youth. There might be different generations watching it. It might be all from the 80s and 90s. You never know, but
it'd be good to hear your comments, guys.
Yeah, definitely. Keep them coming in, and if you can do some good out there, do some good out there.
So
I'm not saying to any charity, but do your thing.
We've all got love in our hearts, and it's time of year to show it. And just think of the people that are a lot worse off than us. We're all in a good position.
That's where I get to sometimes. I sometimes think of myself as a kid, just how everything was just fucking amazing. But just imagine taking that away. You know what I mean? Even though I've had things in my life that haven't been perfect. You know what I mean? There's people out there that have not even got that. You know what I mean? They've not got anything. So it's a good thing to think about. It's not enough. It's not going to ruin your life. It's not going to ruin your Christmas, but it's a good thing to have on your conscience and think about, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, definitely. And just remember, guys, Matt's for life, not just for Christmas.
You know me. You know me. Peace out. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, mate.
I'll see you in the new year. And I'm telling you now, Boris, we know you're listening because we're a fucking big entity.
Yes,
get
Boris.
Lockdown sorted out. We want back in our studio. That's that. Simple.
We're coming for you, Boris.
I don't need to say anything else, Boris.
I know where you live. I know where you live. We've got your address.
Yeah.
Bye.
Peace out. Thank you.